Not a bad idea, actually.
If I don't free myself by the time the fuse reaches the cannon, they'll have to collect the pieces.
If they wanted to shoot me, I'd do it for them, promote my book, and take down these vultures, all at the same time.
The legendary magician stands on the edge of a bridge, his body wrapped in heavy chains. Harry Houdini prepares to leap into the frozen river, determined to break free from his shackles in the icy depths. The crowd of onlookers, along with his closest partners, stares in disbelief, unable to accept that he would dare such a thing. But nothing can stop the great Houdini. His lifelong game with death began long before this moment. As he plunges into the dark water, fragments of his past flash before his eyes. 17 years earlier, Houdini was not yet famous. At that time, he and his wife Bess traveled across the United States, performing wherever they could find a stage. On this night, she managed to secure them a slot in a place that looked more like a brothel than a theater. Harry feels insulted and wants to leave, but Bess quickly starts the show before he can walk away. She announces that the great Houdini will escape from a locked trunk while bound in handcuffs. The audience laughs, and one man mocks him, claiming the restraints.
His handcuff, fake.
Calmly, Houdini insists that anyone is free to provide their own. A policeman, suspicious of the act, steps onto the stage and snaps real cuffs onto Houdini's wrists.
I'm a cop. Let's see you get out of these.
For a moment, Harry's heart races, realizing he was not ready for this twist. Yet it is in such moments that his hunger for greatness takes over. He accepts the challenge, turns his back to the audience, and retrieves a hidden pick from his belt. In just 30 seconds, he breaks free. The audience erupts in shock and amazement. From that night on, no one doubts his skill. Houdini begins to build his name as a master of escapes, pushing his limits with more locks and more daring tricks at every performance. Still, Bess grows weary of their endless life on the road and urges him to settle down. Harry refuses, unwilling to fade into obscurity like his father. Since childhood, back when he was still known as Eric Weiss, he dreamed of breaking free from an ordinary life. As a boy, he and his brother often ran away from home to watch traveling magicians. One evening, a performer staged the illusion of sawing a woman in half. While many in the crowd turned away in fear, young Eric was mesmerized, unable to look anywhere else. The magician noticed his fascination and called him to the stage, naming him a boy who knew no fear. From then on, Eric began performing small tricks on the streets, earning coins that he gladly handed to his mother. The family lived in poverty, and while his mother adored his talent, his father offered no support. After they moved from Budapest to America, his father continued working as a rabbi, but never learned English. 6 years later, stripped of his position, he was left humiliated. Eric witnessed it all and swore never to share that fate. He left home early to pursue the craft of magic on his own. Soon after, his father passed away. The brothers began performing together under the name the Houdini Brothers, drawing crowds on the streets of Brooklyn. During one of these shows, Harry caught sight of a beautiful dancer named Bess. Using his tricks to charm her, he soon won her heart, and they married, joining traveling troupes of other performers. Meanwhile, his brother left behind, copied Harry's tricks, and began performing solo. Determined to rise above imitation, Harry sought a challenge no one could deny. He asked the sheriff to lock him inside a real jail cell. The man resisted, unwilling to turn his duty into a sideshow, but Houdini staked his last savings on the bet that no prison could hold him. The sheriff vents his anger, but Houdini only smirks as if nothing happened. He has trained his body for years, especially his core, knowing it would serve him in dangerous tricks like this. All the while, a journalist who traveled with Harry and Bess carefully records every moment, already planning how tomorrow's headlines will call this the greatest escape in history. Houdini is thrown into a cell, and the sheriff makes sure the magician carries nothing with him. Yet, during a quick farewell kiss, Bess manages to slip her husband a hidden pick. Harry conceals it perfectly, and moments later he escapes escapes from the prison, riding another wave of fame. His mother, endlessly proud, collects every newspaper article she can find about her son's triumphs. Determined to push further, Houdini continues to make his acts more dangerous and more spectacular. It is during this time that he meets Jim Collins, an inventor and devoted fan of magic who runs his own shop of stage props. From the first conversation, both men sense their meeting is fated. Soon, Houdini and Jim arrive at another prison challenge where the magician is stripped of his clothes and locked in chains. Aware of his previous escape, the guards seal his mouth shut as well, but none of them notice the false finger on his hand that conceals more pics. Houdini breaks free once again, and this time his name spreads across all of America. His earnings allow him to buy a new home for his beloved mother. Jim proves to be a tireless partner and presents his boss with a new invention, a tall glass tank meant to trap Houdini upside down underwater. Exhausted after a long day, Harry still cannot resist trying it. His assistants lower him into the tank, but the rehearsal goes wrong. The mechanism jams, and Houdini begins to suffocate inside. Bess realizes the only option is to break the glass, and Jim swings an axe at the tank, saving him in the final moment. Once again, Houdini escapes death, and instead of fear, he feels excitement. He immediately decides to practice this new challenge, which becomes known as the Chinese water torture cell. The panic of the failing mechanism soon becomes part of the act itself. Audiences leap to their feet, shouting for someone to release him, while firefighters rush toward the stage with axes in hand. When the rescuer finally appears, it is revealed to be Houdini himself, stepping out to roaring applause. His popularity climbs to such heights that even American and British intelligence agencies take notice. They approach him during his European tour, offering to alter his official birthplace from Hungary to the United States in exchange for his help uncovering the plans of the German Kaiser. To protect the mission, Harry lies to Bess about his activities, and soon she begins to suspect him of betrayal. His private life and his dangerous career twist together into a knot that cannot be undone. Houdini reflects on his past, admitting to himself that illusion gave him significance and allowed him to escape from who he truly was. Memories of his father resurface, the man whose fate he has been running from his entire life. As a boy, after reading the book of magician from whom he took his stage name, Eric became obsessed with the dangerous trick of catching a bullet. Years later, he prepares to perform it, using the act as a way to get close to the Kaiser of Germany and fulfill his duties as a spy. The Kaiser's best marksman steps onto the stage and takes aim.
Pull the trigger!
The shot is fired, and Bess turns away in terror, but Jim has already removed the bullet while loading the gun with a magnetic ramrod. The danger is only an illusion. In Budapest, Houdini passes along intelligence about the Kaiser's plan to build 7 warships and start a conflict. His next assignment takes him to Russia. Even with his secret missions, Harry still finds time to honor his mother, showering her with gold coins, as he once promised her in childhood. Soon, he finds himself at a reception hosted by Tsar Nicholas II in Moscow. For his performance, Houdini asks the audience to write their wishes on slips of paper, promising to fulfill one. The chosen request is extraordinary: to make the Kremlin bell ring, a bell that has been silent for 100 years due to broken ropes and rotting ladders. Houdini only smiles and delivers the impossible.
Pull the rope.
Leaving the crowd stunned. Even Rasputin, known for his raw strength, decides to test the magician's body with a crushing blow to his stomach. The strike damages Harry's organs, yet he hides the pain, refusing to show weakness. From this gathering, he learns of Nicholas's plans to attack Japan and Rasputin's influence over the royal family. He relays the information to intelligence and reveals the secret of the bell trick. The sound came from Jim, who fired a sniper rifle shot at the exact moment. The next mission proves far more dangerous: stealing documents from the German ambassador's safe. Houdini sets up the illusion during one of his shows. On stage, he climbs inside a safe, and the crowd is told he has 10 minutes before he suffocates. While the audience waits, Harry slips away through the roof and descends into the ambassador's office. With speed and precision, he opens the real safe and takes the papers. But before he can escape, the ambassador enters the room accompanied by a woman. Houdini hides inside the ambassador's safe as the man approaches. Through the crack of the open door, he watches the ambassador carefully lock it, trapping him inside. While the audience outside counts the minutes, the clock has already run past an hour, and now Harry faces true danger. On stage, assistant assistants keep the crowd distracted, pretending to cut through the safe's doors, while inside, Houdini works patiently with his picks, desperate to escape without alerting the ambassador. When the man finally leaves the office, Harry slips out unnoticed and returns to the stage, stepping out to thunderous applause. As the safe is opened before the audience, roses and a letter for Bess are revealed, a gift for their wedding anniversary. Yet Bess is unmoved. To her, their marriage has become nothing but a show for strangers. In her heart, she feels he does nothing truly for her. Later that evening, they attend another official reception. Bess drinks heavily and flirts openly with an officer, humiliating her husband. At home, Harry lashes out in jealousy, and the distance between them grows even wider. In time, he seeks comfort in the attention of other women. To distract himself further, Houdini turns to flying airplanes, but even that only serves as a temporary escape. His career begins to falter as the public turns its fascination towards cinema. Jim shows his boss films featuring Charlie Chaplin, a rising competitor who steals the spotlight with ease. Houdini cannot accept fading into obscurity. An idea forms to bring his magic into the streets, as bold as the moving pictures themselves. Though winter grips the city, he embraces the challenge, filling a bathtub with ice to prepare for a plunge into a frozen river. Bess is alarmed and argues with him once again, but he ignores her concerns. As her life slips further into alcohol and other vices, Harry focuses only on his next death-defying act. The crowd gathers on the bridge, thousands of eyes fixed on him as he prepares for the jump. Houdini relishes the attention, climbs to the edge, and dives from a great height, crashing into the water beneath the ice. He frees himself from the handcuffs with practiced precision, but when he swims upward, he cannot find the opening to escape. Above, Bess pushes through the restless crowd, terrified for her husband. Beneath the ice, Harry grows weaker, unable to see the way out, and the freezing water begins to consume him. The image of his mother gives Houdini the strength to keep fighting beneath the ice. Thinking of her, he finally finds the way out, breaking through to the surface. News of this miraculous escape spreads quickly, drawing even greater attention to his daring acts. His brother, who continues performing magic on his own, pushes Harry to take on even riskier challenges. Soon, Houdini begins escaping from straitjackets, sometimes dislocating his shoulder in the process. In one performance, he is suspended upside down from the 4th floor, struggling against the restraints while a massive crowd watches below. Bess cannot bear to see it and walks away, later resuming the argument that has worn them both down. Harry refuses to stop. To him, these escapes are more than stunts. He believes he risks his life to free people from the fears that hold them captive. Watching him, audiences feel that fear can be conquered. But Bess has seen enough of her husband's battles with death. What she longs for is the love he no longer gives her. Their marriage finally falls apart. Harry begins to seek comfort in the admiration of his fans, who worship him in a way his wife never could. Still, he returns home, remembering the years he and Bess shared together. He apologizes and vows to her that he will no longer gamble with his life. He then revisits an old dream, an illusion so bold it would surpass all others. Houdini makes an elephant disappear before a live audience, and the act is met with the same astonishment as his escapes. For a moment, his family is proud again. But after the show, a government agent approaches, demanding that Houdini embark on another European tour. Reluctantly, he bids farewell to his aging mother and travels to London, where word of an impending world war fills the air. There, he performs for a crowd that includes Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of Sherlock Holmes. The writer is stunned as Houdini walks straight through a brick wall, convinced it is real magic. Conan Doyle and his wife are devoted to spiritualism, which has grown increasingly popular. Even when Harry admits it is only illusion, the author refuses to believe him. Houdini holds back from exposing the secrets of his craft, though the blind faith of others irritates him deeply. Then Jim delivers a devastating message from Harry's brother. Their mother has died suddenly. Shocked, Houdini collapses to the floor, crushed by the loss of the person who meant the most to him. Houdini cancels his tour and returns home for the funeral. Having built his entire career on triumphs over death, Harry now faces a loss he cannot escape, and the weight of it crushes him. Even Jim, overcome with grief, wishes to believe that his master truly possesses supernatural powers, something strong enough to stand against death itself. But Houdini had only once taken on the role of a medium, and even then, it was just another illusion. He and Bess had staged a performance based on the story of a murdered young woman, but when her relatives happened to be in the audience, The show left them devastated. The experience haunted Harry, and he never repeated such a deception again. Meanwhile, the world is torn apart by war, and more families are touched by the loss of loved ones. Houdini continues to perform successfully, even appearing in films, yet he cannot stop thinking about his mother. In weakness, he turns to real mediums, desperate to hear her voice once more. But the sharp eye of a magician always uncovers the frauds, cheap tricks, hidden wires, and staged theatrics. Frustrated, Houdini takes it upon himself to expose them. He writes a book detailing their methods and offers a reward of $10,000 to anyone who can truly contact his late mother. Fanatics respond with threats, warning him to stop. But Houdini, as always, chooses to outrun death itself by attempting ever more dangerous stunts. In one act, he ties himself to the mouth of a loaded cannon, working furiously until he breaks free only a second before the deadly shot is fired. Among the audience are Arthur Conan Doyle and his wife, who later invite him to dinner. There, Houdini does not hide his skepticism, while Doyle insists that spiritualism is rooted in science, even teaching university courses on the subject. Their dinner conversation is interrupted by a fortune teller, and for amusement, Houdini extends his hand, asking her to read his fate. With a grave expression, the gypsy woman predicts death for the magician. Lady Doyle then suggests holding a seance specifically for Harry, and he agrees. During the ritual, she convincingly acts as though she falls into a trance, claiming to let Houdini's mother speak through her. Her hand scratches words onto paper while her voice repeats tender phrases of praise for her beloved son. Overwhelmed with emotion, Harry thanks the Doyles for the evening, his eyes filled with tears. Later, however, as he studies the paper, Houdini notices the messages are written entirely in English, a language his mother never spoke. Even more damning, the seance takes place on Harry's birthday, yet no mention of it appears. For him, this detail is undeniable proof. His mother had never once forgotten his birthday. Furious, he exposes Lady Doyle as a fraud. Doyle, enraged by the insult to his wife, strikes Houdini in the stomach, injuring him once more in his already weakened organs. Shaken and furious, Houdini takes to the radio announcing that the great writer has lost his mind and is dangerous to society. He doubles the prize money for anyone who can prove true supernatural ability. Deep down, though, what Harry truly longs for is to lose the wager and hear the voice of his mother again. He soon travels to meet the most famous psychic of the time, a woman named Marjorie. Extravagant and theatrical, she astonishes the audience by calling him by his birth name, Eric Weiss, before claiming she cannot let him speak with his mother because she uses another language. She too predicts his impending death, but before long, Houdini exposes her tricks, revealing her to be nothing more than a skilled ventriloquist. After the seance, Marjorie visits Houdini in his hotel room, attempting to seduce him to keep him from exposing her fraud. He nearly gives in, but ultimately sends her away, shaken by her parting words that after death, he will no longer belong to himself. The thought chills him to his core. Not long after, during a meeting with fans, one young man begins to argue with Houdini about spiritualism. Harry counters with his long list of frauds and cons he has exposed, humiliating his challenger. Enraged, the young man lashes out and delivers several brutal blows to Houdini's stomach. The same place already weakened from past injuries. Houdini can no longer hide his suffering. Racked with unbearable pain, he refuses to see a doctor. Unaware of the severity of his condition, Bess and Jim help him step onto the stage, where after only a few words he collapses before the audience. Harry! Doctors soon discover that his appendix has ruptured, and even an emergency operation cannot stop the infection spreading through his body. Realizing that the end is near, Harry reflects on his life. He compares himself to surgeons who save lives with their skill, while he, as an entertainer, merely created illusions. Yet one of the doctors, who had once taken his whole family to see Houdini's shows, thanks him sincerely for his art, reminding him how deeply it touched and inspired people. Bess stays by her husband's side through his final days. She sings his favorite song as he gathers his last strength to tell her that he loves her.
Rosie, I love her more than I can tell.
At the age of 52, Harry Houdini finally loses his battle with death. For 10 years after his passing, Bess tries to contact his spirit through seances every Halloween, but every attempt fails. And that closes the story of the greatest escape artist in history. The title of the movie, as always, can be found in the description below. But now, it's your turn. Share your thoughts in the comments. Why do you think the great Houdini truly risked his life? And don't forget to like this video and subscribe so more incredible stories can come your way.